Hey, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Emma, aka Midsummer Knits, and I post videos about knitting and fiber arts content. Today we are doing another podcast episode. I try and do these around once a month, give or take, depending on kind of like how productive my knitting has been, what I have to show you guys. And truthfully, I haven't had quite as much time for knitting in the past like month or so since I moved. I've just been a little bit busier with, first of all, I'm going into the office more often. I am super lucky to have a super flexible job where I don't have to go into the office. However, I just moved back to San Francisco, which is where the office is based. So it has been really nice to go into the office and talk to people more often as opposed to just being completely by myself, especially since I live alone now. It's a little bit hard for me to like get social interaction if I don't go into the office and see people more often. So I've been doing that and my commute is around 30 minutes. So that adds like an hour to my workday versus if I weren't doing that, I would have an extra hour to knit. Otherwise, I've also just been trying to see friends more often. Again, just living completely by myself, I feel like I'm trying to get out of my comfort zone more and see more people as opposed to just being like a total hermit. So I've really been trying to get out and be a little bit more social. It's also been pretty nice living back in the city again because I can just do a lot more things versus when I lived in Tahoe for a bit. There were definitely things to do in Tahoe. There were a lot of different opportunities other than I could go out and take nicer walks and go to the beach and also go to local restaurants, which I can also do here. But here in San Francisco, I feel like there's just a lot more options in terms of some of the things that I'm interested in. For example, I literally just won tickets to go see Folklore, which is this indie kind of folk artist. I won tickets to go see him for free and I literally found out like 2 days in advance. Versus when I lived in Tahoe, it just wouldn't have been possible for me to decide so last minute that I wanted to go to a concert. I would have had to travel somewhere to go see a concert, either the Sacramento or the Bay Area, and I probably wouldn't have gone for an artist whose entire catalog basically I don't know. So, you know, just wanted to give a little life update in terms of what I've been up to. But enough with the random life updates. Basically, I wanted to start out this video talking about FOs and works in progress, just like updates on my knitting. So the first thing I have to show you guys is that I do have one FO. I finished my Midnight Dancer socks. And if you guys have been following my channel for a while, you'll know that these socks were a bit of a journey because I actually started out making a pair of these socks, but the lace version, with a plain white yarn, and that was way back at the beginning of this year. I ended up having some issues with those socks just in terms of fit, in terms of the lace design. I felt like the lace design was like super stretched out in certain places on the sock, and I just got kind of annoyed with the project, so I set it to the side, and then, talked about this in my last podcast episode, I actually ended up losing that project as soon as I was about to go back and start working on it again. So basically at that point, I kind of cut my losses. I was like, although I am sad about losing this project, you know, it is what it is. I might as well move on and start a new pair of socks. And so that's what I did. I started on the non-lace version because I wanted to use this really pretty variegated yarn, which is from Arcane Fiberworks. And what I do want to say about these ones is that they went a lot more smoothly than the Midsummer Dancer socks, the lace version. I feel like these just were really fun and easy knit. Basically the only like complication in these socks is just the ruffle, which just to describe generally how it's done is that you cast on a lot more stitches than you actually want for the leg and foot of the sock, and then you knit a couple of rows and then very rapidly decrease to the actual number of stitches you want, and that forms the ruffle. I had a few people ask me about that, so that is the answer generally of how to make a ruffle. And I have found that knitting ruffles is a little bit tedious, just in that it's not the most fun to like knit two together across an entire row. But that being said, it's like a relatively quick thing that you kind of get out of the way pretty quickly, and then after that, like, it's pretty much just a plain sock. So I really love how these came out. I haven't really had the opportunity to wear them too much yet because San Francisco, I feel like the weather here is kind of always in this in-between state where it usually ranges from like maybe 50 or 55 degrees to like 70 or 75 degrees. So I feel like the weather here, I don't tend to wear a lot of like skirts. It is funny because in my videos, you'll always see me wearing a tank top, but that's because I will typically wear a tank top or a t-shirt and then just have like a light jacket on top all the time. But you know, within San Francisco, I don't tend to wear a lot of like skirts or dresses just because my legs really get cold. And that's the main thing that I want to wear these socks with. I think going forward, I will definitely be on the lookout for any warm days because there are some rare days where it's really warm in San Francisco and you can definitely get away with wearing a skirt or a dress. Either that or I'll just wear some like sheer tights and that will help to keep my legs a little bit warmer. Or I will just be a little cold because honestly sometimes beauty is pain and I desperately want to wear these. So I'm really happy with how these came out. I think these were a really fun project and I would definitely make this pattern again just because it was a really fun project, especially for my commute. Just a very chill project where I didn't have to put too much thought into it. A lot of it was just straight knitting, and then the rest was like pretty simple elements of a sock that I've done many times at this point. So I really enjoyed making these. I mentioned this in a recent video as well, but I think I want to start having one pair of socks on the needles basically at all times, just as like a commute project and something that I can work on when I need a break from my other projects. So I'll probably start on a new pair of socks very soon. Sorry if my camera moved. I might have accidentally hit it when I was going to start filming a second clip, but next up I wanted to talk about my works in progress. So the first one I have is actually related to the Midnight Dancer socks, just in that I had a good amount of yarn left over after I completed the Midnight Dancer socks and I wanted to do something with it. This is the kind of yarn where I feel like it would just sit in my stash for a long time if I didn't kind of take action and try to get rid of it quickly. This definitely isn't enough to make another pair of socks, so it would just be the kind of thing where I wouldn't really know what to do with it. If I haven't already mentioned this, I love this color. I think it's so pretty. It's called Spirit of Spring, and you can see it has all different pastel colors. So it has kind of like pink, yellow, green, it has some blues that come in. I just think it is so pretty and I really wanted to use it in a scrunchie. So recently I've actually been wearing my existing knit scrunchie that I've had for a while. I've been wearing it a lot more. I feel like it's just really nice for if I want to put up my hair really quickly, or even if I want to wear my hair up like for a full day, because it adds a little volume to your ponytail because it's a little bit thicker than like a normal scrunchie. Kind of random tip slash hack, but I've been wearing that one so much, and so I was like, I really want to have more hand knit scrunchies, and so I decided to knit a scrunchie with this leftover sock yarn. I also thought it would just be a really cute color scheme for a scrunchie. It would be kind of like a cottagecore vibe to go with my socks, and so I decided to start a scrunchie. I actually decided that I wanted to do a scrunchie that had this yarn held together with some mohair, so that's what I did. I actually am not sure if I regret this decision because this mohair I got, it is Sandnes Garn. I hope I'm saying that right, but you know, it's a pretty well-known brand, so I think people will know what I'm referring to. But this mohair is Sandnes Garn, and it has just been shedding like crazy while I'm knitting with it. And I'm a little bit concerned that when I actually finish the scrunchie is also going to shed like on my hair and my clothes and everything. So I'm not sure if that was a mistake. I wanted to do it to kind of like soften the tones of the color a little bit. And I think it looks pretty cute, but I'm not sure if I'm going to end up regretting that. So also just to show you guys, this is my progress on the scrunchie so far. I'm actually essentially done with it, but I had to order more hair ties because I ran out, and you need a hair tie to put within the scrunchie to actually make it a scrunchie. So I am just waiting on my hair ties to come. I think they're actually supposed to come today, and then I'll probably go ahead and finish this one up. And then I obviously still have more yarn, so I'm gonna see if I can make another scrunchie or like how many more scrunchies I can make, and maybe I'll make them and then I'll either hold on to them for a bit and give them to friends for their birthdays, or just like give them to friends randomly. So I think this is super cute. I don't know if I'm gonna regret using the mohair. We will see. I think I'll just finish this one up and then start wearing it a little bit and see if it like sheds on me, and depending on that, then maybe I'll decide if I want to keep using the mohair plus the wool yarn, or if I want to just use the wool going forward for scrunchies. And my second whip, which I literally just started yesterday, is my second heartless top. I have been talking about this on my channel for so long, but I've been working on this pattern called the heartless top. It is just a top with a heart cut out, and I posted this on my Instagram like way back in February, and people have been asking for the pattern ever since. So I'm sorry, I am working on it. It is on the way. I basically finished writing up the pattern for my size, but now I'm working with the tech editor to get it graded. So basically I'm making another version in my own size so that I can film some tutorials for parts of the pattern that I think are like a little bit confusing or might help to see visually. And this one I'm making in a light purple. I actually talked about this in a recent video as well, where I ordered this light purple yarn and then I realized it was the wrong weight. However, I posted about it on my Instagram story, and a few people suggested that I just swatch it since it's close to the actual weight. This is worsted weight, and the original top I made in DK weight. So people said you should just swatch it and see if it is the right gauge, and I actually managed to get the right gauge. So I'm just proceeding with this color, which I'm really excited about because this is a color that I always envisioned for my second version of the top. And I just literally just started it, and it is constructed from the top down. So this is just the back, and I'll next pick up stitches to start knitting the straps. I'm really excited about this. I think this is going to be a super fun project, and I can't wait to see what this second version looks like in the light purple. I think it's going to be so, so cute. So the next segment of my podcast I usually like to share is called Acquisitions, where I just talk about any new yarn, new notions, any patterns, or anything that I've sort of acquired since my last podcast episode. Thankfully this time around I don't have any new yarn because I have been trying to cut back on buying random yarn that I'm not going to use immediately. So I don't have any new acquisitions in the way of yarn. However, I do have a few notions. These are from the brand Twice Sheared Sheep, and I actually talked about this in a Instagram story, I think. I talked about the fact that I lost a bunch of my notions because, like I mentioned, I lost my midsummer dancer socks and I had my notions in the bag with those socks. So I actually needed to get some new notions, and Twice Sheared Sheep was kind enough to send these to me. So I do have an affiliate link for you guys if you want to use it. That being said, no pressure at all. I just figured I would share what they sent me, and if you do want to buy anything, you can use my affiliate link, but literally no pressure. So first of all, they sent me this pair of scissors, which is like actually my new favorite thing because it's really cute and iridescent. I am just such a sucker for anything shiny. Like, I just get so excited when I see something cute and shiny. So I lost my pair of scissors and now I have these really cute scissors that have like an iridescent handle. So super excited for these. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is something that I feel like is going to be such a lifesaver for me. It is knit extension cords. So let me just show you guys what these look like. Basically they sent them to me in this little tin, and I will take one out to show you guys. It looks pretty simple. It just looks like a cord that has like a hole going through it, like basically like a long straw. And how it works is that if you are knitting something that you want to try on, you can take the correct size for your needles. This one looks like the right size for my needle right now. So you can put it over the tip of the needle and then you can slide stitches on really easily. And then you can just slide all of your stitches on, try on your garment or whatever it is you're making. And then when you finish, you can again take the end of the cord and put it over the needle to slide the stitches back onto the needle. So this makes it really easy to actually try on stuff while you're knitting it. I have had this problem before where I will always try to try things on with the stitches still on the needles because I'm just so lazy. I don't want to like go get a tapestry needle and get some spare yarn and then, you know, put all the stitches on one by one. So I just get really lazy and I tend to just try it on with the needle still on, and that can lead to me dropping stitches and having to like fix that. So I think this is going to be such a lifesaver when it comes to trying stuff on more regularly, and that is also really helpful because I am such a stickler for like something having the right fit. So it's really important to me that I do try things on somewhat frequently while I'm making them. So I'm really excited to start using this. They also sent me some other like stitch markers, which are super cute, and a stitch marker case, which again, since I lost my notions, I'm really excited to have these and start using these. That is it for my acquisitions. As mentioned, I didn't have any yarn or anything really big this time around. But again, I do have that Twice Sheared Sheep affiliate link if you guys have any interest in buying anything from them. They have so many cute notions that if you are on the lookout for any new notions, I would definitely recommend checking them out. The last segment of my podcast that I'd like to talk about is the new media that I've been consuming and what I've been watching or listening to while I'm knitting. Truthfully, I do not have any new media to share with you guys. I've still been watching Vampire Diaries, but I am getting really close to the end of it. I think I'm on season 7 and there are 8 seasons total. So I have been making some good progress on that, but I just don't have any new shows or anything to share with you guys. If you want to hear me talk about Vampire Diaries more, I did talk about it a little bit in my last podcast episode, so you can go check that out. But I didn't want to spend too much time like rehashing it, especially because I try not to give spoilers or at least anything too spoilery in my podcast episodes. So I just talked about kind of the general concept for the show, but I'm not going to talk about any specific things that happen in the seasons. So that has been the main thing that I've been watching while I knit since the last podcast episode. I have been listening to a ton of music, so I thought maybe I could talk about that as opposed to talking about a TV show or movie since I don't have anything new to discuss. So first off, I'm literally wearing her merch right now, but I have been listening to Olivia Rodrigo's new album Guts, and I think this is such a fun album. I really enjoy it. It is very much a roller coaster of emotions, and this is something that I generally like about Olivia as an artist. I feel like she has the ability to write these very disparate songs where you can listen to both songs and be like, wow, it's kind of amazing that the same artist wrote and released both of these on the same body of work. So she has, I feel like, there are 2 main categories of songs that she has in this album. There are the ballads, which are kind of more emotional and moving and thoughtful and reflective. And then she has more kind of like pop punk leaning songs that sound a little bit more like maybe Avril Lavigne or Paramore. And I love both of these. I think she does such an amazing job of writing both type of song, and I really enjoy listening to both of them. My favorites so far have been making the bed. Making the bed is just too real for me as like a mid-20s woman. I feel like it just talks about making a certain life for yourself and then feeling disillusioned with the life that you've created, and I just feel like it's too real for me. I don't know if you guys can hear the dog barking in the background. I apologize if you can. It's my neighbor's dog who just like randomly barks a lot during the day, so I apologize if you can hear that, but I hope that you can't. So making the bed is one of my favorites. I also love some of the more like upbeat ones. I love Ballad of a Homeschooled Girl, All American Bitch, and Bad Idea Right is always a really fun one as well. So those are some of my favorites from the album. However, I just love the entire body of work as a whole, and I've really been enjoying that. I'm also going to see Maisie Peters this week in concert, so I love her album The Good Witch and I'm really excited to see her. Maybe next time around with the podcast episode I can do a little review of the show and talk about my experience there, but those have been two artists I've really been enjoying lately. So that is it for my podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to me nerding out about knitting and music for the last however many minutes this ends up being. If you're still watching, I would love if you commented down below and included the word ruffle in your comments so that I know you watched this entire video. I always love seeing how you guys work these like code words into your comments. It's so fun for me, so I try and do these every once in a while. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a great day and I'll see you next time. Bye!